世界をみたいな誰にも出せない答えが僕の中に
Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. So here we are, Death Tea, an arc that's been built up pretty much ever since Cards with Teeth, i.e., Yugi putting the hurt on Kaiba, i.e., their first actual duel. So Death Tea as a series sort of culminates everything we're looking at um, from that moment to now. Actually, even further, I would hazard a guess to say that it goes well from building up everything from the first story to now. So let's go. Let's do a recap here. So when we last saw Kaiba, he had dueled Yugi after stealing the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Yugi giving him a penalty game of the illusion of death. And it was all fun. It was all cool, and we never saw Kaiba again. We see Mokuba after the events of the Man from Egypt, and in that story, Mokuba warns Yugi that Death Tea is coming. Death Tea is coming. And we don't know what that is. Then we get a whole bunch of other little hints, mostly about Kaiba, that he is an expert gamer. Then we get to the actual invitation by one of Kaiba's little henchmen that, hey, you're invited to Kaiba's place for the arrival of his new theme park, Death Tea. Or just his theme park. He doesn't call it Death Tea. That would be a red flag. He goes in, and here we are. So Death Tea could also be viewed as where the Yu-Gi-Oh timelines split. All right? Because if you go from here straight to the manga, you will not get to Merrick or any of. As a matter of fact, it's actually where it gets a bit weird, and even the 4 Kids anime and the original and the future anime don't quite know how to play around with that problem. It's just like hints of things that we haven't seen. But, but, if you say that from this story, literally the episode Heart of the Cards, is from this manga, from this arc. So we can say the timeline divulges here. And really cool is that the season 0 anime will have an addition to this that helps sort of split that off. Namely, Bakura. But Bakura doesn't matter in for this manga. So let's go in. So when we come in, we see death. We see Yugi and Joey going to Kaiba Land. Actually, before that, we get a really cool scene of Kaiba waking up, or Kaiba waking up from another nightmare. Since we're guessing, since that whole fateful duel, Kaiba's been having nightmares where he constantly sees death. He's constantly tormented by monsters, and when he wakes up, like, this will be the last time I have that nightmare. And we arrive at Kaiba Corp. Well, we'll call it Kaiba Corp in the anime. It's apparently just all still one big amusement park as well. So we go through, introduced by Kaiba, like, hey, Yugi, how you doing, man? Because remember, Yugi's been blacking out. He has no idea what he did to Kaiba. It all just sort of works out that Yugi's totally innocent in this scene here. We get one moment, which I don't think is enough credit, is when one of the employees says that Kaiba has something to do with the apparent unaliving of the previous CEO, drove him to unalive himself. The previous CEO being Kaiba's father. So this is the one time where, Kaiba's like, hey, he's not happy, he's not joyful. There's like a slight little darkness to his eyes. That ultimately is just a little bit of a sprinkle of what's to come. But anyway, we go through into the whole arena and we see what Kaiba has prepared, which is a game, showing off his new technology. Now, if you're a fan of the anime, like most civilized people are, you remember those big, bulky duel arenas for the Duelist Kingdom arc. Lovely, great, bit impractical because I think you have to yell so loud to be heard. There's probably microphones there somewhere so you can hear. Also, super easy to cheat, just whatever. As Bandit Keith showed us. But for the manga, those big arenas didn't exist. There were these small little virtual reality squares, and the game is played on a table, just a regular table. Who's the competitor to test this out? None other than Grandpa Moto. Grandpa Moto was here, and everyone's like, "So what's going on?" Everyone's like, he's just an old guy. It turns out Yugi's grandpa has never lost a game before, and Yugi's grandpa's like, "Yeah, I'm him. I don't know what more to tell you." But when he sees Yugi, he's so grateful and happy to see it because apparently Kaiba basically kidnapped Yugi's grandpa, saying that they would kill Yugi if he didn't go with him. Like, okay, all right. So I have to put the hurting on this kid in a game of magic and wizards. And Yugi's grandpa thinks everything's going to be pretty easy because, well, in his deck, he has the most powerful card in existence at this time, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Once he draws it, it's over. And so then we get the game and the arrival of what makes uh, these cages special, namely the fact they have hologram technology. So you summon it and the monster is brought to life. This is clearly inspired by the nightmares that the other Yugi gave Kaiba. So there we go. Uh, and this is sort of where it gets a bit wonky. You have to remember that at this time, the actual rules for the game had not been written. Takahashi had no real conception of what he wanted the game to be. Also, I think it's still clear to see that at this time, the card game was not going to be the massive IP machine it is now, or even 10 years ago. So, no. So, the rules aren't there. There's not a lot of back and forth exactly how this game works. They summon monsters, they attack, from 2000 to 1700, attack into smaller attack, and yeah, attack over small defense. Like, that's kind of it. And we're supposed to, this is high level play. It's just it. Uh, Takahashi will do more stuff later on when the game actually matters. And so, you can the line. Hey,
カイバ
Kaiba,
君、わしの勝ちじゃ。
I win. You are the what the dragon.
ブルーアイズホワイトドラゴン。
Cool. So,
このカードで勝負は決まった。
I got another one of those. And next turn, despite the fact
ならば俺のカードはこれだ。
my next turn. And here's the thing, we don't know what
な、なに？
happened.
ブルーアイズホワイトドラゴン？
What I mean is, we just know he's
さらにもう一枚、ブルーアイズホワイトドラゴン。そんなバカな！入手困難のカードを2枚も？ 次のターンでもう一枚出してもいいんだよ。まさか。
This is sort of where it gets dark. He says, well, you're right. They are very rare cards, only 4 in existence. Kaiba mentions that he's used his money and resources to bankrupt people into selling them, making deals with the mafia. I'm sure someone was just taking the flat out cash. I would have. Let's go. Let's go. I could build something better. Or just never play again, depending on how much he's willing to pay. So he has 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons through legitimate, non legitimate, and flat out crime. There we go. He then goes the extra mile of taking the other Blue Eyes, like, this is the Blue Eyes that rejected me in the game, because that's what happened. That Blue Eyes, when he dueled Yugi with it, the Blue Eyes he stole and then slid into his deck, decided to destroy itself rather than attack his real owner's grandson. Kaiba punishes the Blue Eyes, tears it up, and then he goes the extra mile, says, by the way, you lost, so now you get the illusion of death, the penalty game. And he says, like, oh, by the way, in these boxes, healthy people go insane after about 3 minutes. And it does seem to be putting a stress on Yugi's grandpa. He says, like, look, Yugi, the only way I'll stop this will be if you agree to compete in Death Tea. And Yugi's like, yeah, I'll do it. And Joey comes in like, I'll help him out. And then Joey comes in with the worst character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, his younger brother, who we will never see again after this arc. Thank you. Shoji, Satoji. It doesn't matter. I hate this kid. He's going to be here a lot. So Kyle was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. This works out better. I want him to suffer. So we go in, and then so they go into Death T1, and this is where it gets wild. So Death T is pretty much take any fun amusement park game and add death to it. Not just the name, but in spirit. Kaiba's here with one mission, or he's not metaphorically here to kill Yugi. He's going to flat out do it because he lost a game and a whole bunch of like trauma, PTSD stuff, but we're not here for that. So, it turns out there's also a bonus character here. A bonus character. There's technically 2 bonus characters, depending on how you go with it. So, Hanasaki takes Yugi's grandpa to the hospital. Yugi, Joey, and Tristan go into Death T1, where they're met for laser tag of death. And they're met by Taya, who works there. Like, yeah, because at Burger Palooza, the dude grabbed my butt, and now I work at Kaiba Corp. Laser tag game is laser tag of death. How's laser tag of death? Well, lasers. So you remember regular laser tag, you go in, pew pew pew, you shoot, you aim for like the little chest area, and it like vibrates or whatnot. Let you know, hey, you've been hit. This one, no, it's volts of lightning, volts of electricity into the body. Yeah, you will die. And because it's Kaiba, not only did he make sure that Joey, Tristan, and Yugi don't have the actual they have the toy laser guns. Um, the three assassins, CIA operatives, and bodyguards have the actual guns. So yes, Kaiba stacked the deck in his favor. Fortunately, he didn't know that Taya was Yugi's friend, so Taya had a working gun, and it's Tristan of all people that helps make the save. Love it. To get a good look, as I said before, get a good look at Tristan in this manga. He will never look better than he will here. So then, after we clear Death T with lasers of death, we then go to some really decent games where Tristan's pervy little brother helps out, and we're just not going to talk about it. We're just not going to talk about it. The whole point is that one was luck. We go to a get a riddle where if you guess it wrong, hey, your hand's gonna get chopped off. Yugi comes in clutch for that one, showing off his intelligence. Love it. Then there's a chainsaw death match with an axe murderer that Kaiba broke out. It is wild. I don't know how Kaiba gets away with any of this. Then we get to the heart of the story. Well, one of the hearts of the story. Actually, one of the best moments when they arrive in one game, which later to be one of the most important ones, is Yugi realizing, well, it's sort of like letting it all sort of come down on him. As sort of like this moment of relief while they all wait for the next game. Yugi thinks like, this is all my fault. I've put you all in this situation. I don't know why you're my friends. So it then Joey and Tristan come in because Taya really has nothing to say for this. They talk about, hey, don't put yourself down like this. You know what friends are? Friends are people you like, you want to hang out with. Friends are people who make you feel better about yourself. And this is where we get to sort of what I've said earlier was the heart of this story, which is the impact Yugi's had on Joey and Tristan. Joey and Tristan talk about how they're so angry at the adults in their lives, at school, at people who abuse their authority. Sort of like a big thing in this manga, and it's sort of had an effect on Joey and Tristan. They're so angry that they just want to hurt people, but the person they're really angry at is themselves. And Yugi makes them feel better about themselves. They remember, hey, when Yugi had the chance to get revenge on us, he said, no, you can't hurt these guys. They're my friends. I want to help them. And they said, okay, well, we're going to help him. Like they became his friends. And they want to help him. I love that. Then we get the whole symbol of friendship that Taya made. And as if the series cannot handle this much schmaltz, the next Death T game begins. All right, which is basically Tetris. Except instead of different shapes, it's just cubes that fall down trying to crush them. This is where Taya comes in clutch. All right, Taya's a dancer, and that means she can sense the rhythm of the cubes. She goes there, 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 and they climb up, climb up, climb up to the door, and this is where it gets dark. All right, Tristan is stuck. All right, so they can quit. Tristan makes sure everybody else is out there safe, and he's just like, hey, keep going, guys. And the last one of the cubes falls in, which traps Tristan inside while everyone else is outside, and Yugi starts tweaking. All right, he's like, my friends, my family, curse you, Kaiba, curse you. And this is the first time I think Yugi's ever been filled with rage. And because it's Yugi, he can't really handle it. Like, if you think about it, he's never been that kind of person. And this is also the first time Joey and Taya see this is happening to Yugi. Closest we got to seeing this was pretty much anytime Taya was threatened. And here, there's like Joey's voice as well as Taya seems to like calm him down. And Yugi talks about the fact that he's been blacking out and he thinks something has happened to him ever since he solved the Millennium Puzzle, but he's been afraid to tell anybody. Joey and Taya perk him up, say, hey man, no matter what's going on here, that's still you. You got this. We're not going to abandon you. And with new resolve, he goes in, ready for the next challenge. Then we take a break from Yugi and company to talk about Mokuba and Kaiba. And this is another big difference between Mokuba and Kaiba in the different series. Mokuba in the manga is far more active. He's far more willing to act out on his own, do his own thing, but still underneath the watch of his brother, but also more an attempt to impress his brother. Mokuba reveals that they both placed a bet on when Yugi would die in Death Tea. Kaiba said, yes, Mokuba, I know you wagered that he would die playing you in Capsule Monsters. I wagered that he would die against me in Duel Monsters. It's kind of it. And to Kaiba's credit, it makes no sense that Kaiba would bet on Mokuba when this is like his plan. But Mokuba's upset because it means you don't have any faith. And like, yeah, you can't. Like, Kaiba flat out points out that you challenged him, 2 other times before this, and you still lost. Okay, you still lost. What do you expect me to do? All right, you can't handle Yugi. And Mokuba was like, but I thought if I like you think you matter to me. You don't. All right? In the world of games, there's no room for brothers, no room for love. You're pathetic. And I was like, oh, this is not the Kaiba I grew up with. You're not Seto Kaiba. You're Kaiba with the green hair. Oh, but it is so interesting to see this because now we get why Mokuba's doing what he's doing. He wants his brother's love. Sad. This is all one big game of Smash Brothers. But Mokuba goes in for his final round of Capsule Monsters. The last time this game will matter. Yugi, for the first time, transforms in front of people. Like, hey, so Joey and Taya see the other Yugi with sharper edges. But pretty much. So neither Yugi is taller than the other in the manga, which is also weird because Yugi's height is so inconsistent in the manga when it's drawn, but whatever. So they go in for the game of Capsule Monsters, and this game here highlights how Mokuba tries to emulate his brother. Not only does he cheat, but cheating in the fact that he rigged the machine so that Yugi would only get low-level monsters, and Mokuba gets high-level monsters. I'm like, oh, okay. He hasn't learned. This is like the 3rd time he's tried to cheat Yugi. So Mokuba has all these big, powerful monsters, and Yugi has these smaller ones. This is Kaiba in a nutshell. What is Kaiba's ace? Blue eyes,
Yugi.
dragon, big red cheeks.
なんだその陣形は。弱い者同士寄り添い合っちゃって。惨め、惨め、キシシシシシ。
僕らのモンスターはほとんどがレベル5の最強ユニット。それに
ニッパーチャルモンスターが出現したぞ。
僕の先手だ。行くぜ、遊戯。アルマザウルス出撃だ。さあ、お前の番だぜ。
And I love him for it. But it also highlights a difference between Yugi and the Kaiba brothers. The Kaiba brothers are all about power and, using everything as a resource, as a toy. Kaiba does not care that more than likely, in the course of Death Tea, a lot of his operatives have died. A lot of people he's hired for this are probably dead. Like, we don't really think about the fact that Tristan and Joey have probably killed people. At least 4 people. Possibly 4 people have died. And Kaiba doesn't care. So all of these, allies, his henchmen, are just expendable. Yugi values each one of his friends as extensions. He doesn't have, henchmen. He has friends. And those friends have helped him throughout the course of the tournament. We'll go more into that later. But with some clever maneuvering, big brain plays, and the power of evolution creating, I guess, Heracross? Before Gen 2? Wild. Yugi's able to defeat Mokuba, and Kaiba showing exactly the kind of person he is. Like, well, Mokuba, you lost. And remember what happens to the loser. Death Tea! And the monsters come out, attempt to take Mokuba. Yugi pulls him out, and he's freaking out. Yugi's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let him kill you. I don't. Mokuba's freaking out. He looks at this little locket of him and his brother, like, ever since that chess game, my brother's been possessed by a demon of gaming. And this is kind of accurate for Kaiba, especially episode 1 Kaiba. Actually, anytime Kaiba gets power, this tends to happen. But anyway. So now, after Mokuba runs off somewhere, we get the final duel. The first episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, Heart of the Cards. Actually, that's what this chapter is called, Heart of the Cards. And this actually goes pretty much the same as the anime. The only real difference is, of course, the visually it's different. We're sitting at a table, not in huge long arenas where we hope we can all hear each other. No, 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 no. It is a small, intimate, looking right at each other like, oh, if I could, Kaiba, I'd reach across this table and beat your ass. But I can't, because I'm weak. So they summon monsters. Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress, Sagi the Dark Clown, Dark Energy Generator, Judge Man, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Swords of Revealing Light, Judge Man, Dark Magician, and it's Heart of the Cards. It's the episode. I mean, also another difference is people are watching this. Like Heart of the Cards does not explain to you what is going on or how anybody knows what happened here. Because I doubt Mokuba would tell anybody what happens, and I doubt anyone's going to believe Joey, and Yugi doesn't care. So the only other option would be Kaiba, but we know what happens to Kaiba. So, as Yugi tries to figure out a way, he remembers, oh, that's right, Exodia's in the deck. He goes to draw, attempt to draw the last piece. The deck, it senses the fear. He sees the smiley face symbol. Heart of the Cards. Time to begin the legacy of BS draws. And the legendary scene.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba. But it does contain the unstoppable Exodia.
Impossible!
I've assembled all 5 special cards, all 5 pieces of the puzzle.
And it's just as good in the manga, in the anime. It is so good. It is so good. But also, punishment time. Mind crush. Oh, this is, yep. Kaiba's done. But also, we get some good stuff here. Hanasaki says Yugi's grandpa's coming out of it. Mokuba somehow was able to get there in time to stop Tristan from dying from the cubes. That I've racked my head around it. I don't get it. There was no way. There was no way, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Like Boomer, Tristan will live. And then we get the $1 million question. Taya asks Mokuba, why is Kaiba so obsessed about this? And Mokuba gives us the rundown. They were orphans, their parents, so their family members spent the inheritance and then dumped them in an orphanage, so they're garbage people. And Gozoboru Kaiba came into the orphanage. You can tell he's evil because he smokes. At the time, challenged Gozoboru Kaiba to a chess game with the understanding that if he won, Gozoboru would adopt both of them. Points to Kaiba, but then it turns out Kaiba only won. Well, Seto, oh my god. He only won because he cheated. Ever since then, that has been Kaiba's mindset. Cheating is what got me where I needed to go. The problem is, though, Gozoboru was a harsh taskmaster. And he kept Kaiba up all night trying to make him into a proper heir for Kaiba Corp. Which led to eventually our boy Seto issuing a takeover of Kaiba Corp from the inside. Then the Gozoboru Kaiba's like, this is what happens to loser Seto! And he jumps off the building. So Kaiba is, in essence, responsible for the death of Gozoboru. And Mokuba sort of feels like that's kind of it. Like there's nothing else for him. There's no way to get his brother back. But then Yugi takes Mokuba aside and says, look at your brother. Above comatose Kaiba is the image of a young Kaiba picking up the shattered remains of his psyche and slowly putting the pieces together, like he's putting himself together. If he'll be better, we don't know yet. But he'll be back. And I'll wait for you, big brother. Yep. This is it. And that's how Death Tea ends. With Yugi coming to terms with the other him that exists. There's still no exact explanation as to what other Yugi is at this point. As far as everyone seems to think, it's just an alternate personality in Yugi. Kaiba has been soundly defeated. Takahashi drew monsters so great that it will now dominate his entire career. And yeah. We've seen 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons and 1 Torn Up One, which will later be reprinted as its own unique card. Death Tea is phenomenal. I'm sorry, it just is. It just is. So, how do we raise the stakes from the man from Egypt? That story is great, exploring the mystery of the Millennium Puzzle. But we don't really quite get it. Like, Yugi tells Shadi that the power of the Millennium Puzzle is unity. We see that when all of Yugi's friends really help come in clutch to help save the day. This happens again, but this time it's about Yugi. So, the Master of Egypt is about the Millennium Puzzle and the fact that Yugi doesn't understand it, and he does come to an understanding of it. This is about Yugi and Kaiba's relation, or what Yugi's actions since solving the Millennium Puzzle. All right, and him solving it, what led to him solving it, which was him defending Joey and Tristan. Now Joey and Tristan get to pay that back by helping him out here. They have no idea what was going on in the man from Egypt. They have no earthly idea. So here they know Yugi needs help. We're gonna help. This actually puts the concept of unity to the test. Where in Man from Egypt, like, hey, Joey saw and helped out, and Tristan saw and helped out, and we went from there. Here, he's like, no, this was like Yugi needed help, and we've made people better because of it. Kaiba, like, this will be Kaiba's lowest point. Death Tea is Kaiba at his lowest. And we'll see him actually, like, rise to a higher promise. Like, you, I can't really appreciate Kaiba without Season Zero, without Death Tea. And you need that because really, if anyone should just not trust Kaiba anymore, it's Yugi. It is Yugi. Like, Heart of the Cards gives he gives Kaiba the idea that this wasn't intentional. He didn't intend to put Yugi's grandpa in the hospital, which is why Yugi can sort of be like a bit cordial to him. Like, hey, Kaiba, this is your deck. Oh, hey, we'll save the Kaiba brothers because it's the right thing to do. If you go from the manga, if Yugi said, yeah, oh, Kaiba's missing, who wants popcorn? That's it. That's it. But also seeing how different Kaiba is from this point to how it will be in the anime, I think is different. Actually, I think it's something that gets lost in the two. Not just from the manga to the anime, but from the original Japanese to the 4Kids dub. Kaiba's motivations and drives are entirely different from that one. And I think we should talk about that at a later date. Mokuba will never be as active as he is here. Any other time, he'll do like one cool thing in Duelist Kingdom. After that, he's like, yep, and I'm kidnapped again. And I'm kidnapped again. Oh, here's Seto. I'm done. I'm good. I'm good. Um, like I said, Joey is showing that he's consistently the sort of emotional anchor. Like, we tend to have Taya be the sort of feminine touch, the heart of it. But really, if you go through this manga, and you'll see it way more at the end of the series, Joey is very much the um, oh, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, is the sort of the emotional center of the group in a lot of ways. He grows up the most after Yugi, and the problem is Yugi's development will be mostly behind the scenes because of how this series works with other Yugi coming in. Tristan, like I said, get a good look at him. Tristan has been nothing short of phenomenal since the whole Ribbon story, like ever since the whole issue with Ribbon and Mio and that game, he's gone from someone that doesn't trust Yugi to someone who really is one of his biggest supporters. As a matter of fact, each of them has a story where they become closer to Yugi by extent. There's, of course, the first story, uh, which endears Joey to Yugi. We could go with the Burger Palooza story, which endears Taya closer to Yugi, which is sort of the thing that gets underplayed the most, is that Yugi and Taya were friends before this. But I think the whole Yugi encouraging Taya to follow her dreams is sort of what ties them closer together. And of course, the issue with Tristan and Joey, what brings them closer to Yugi even more, is the whole issue when Joey falls back in with his old gang, and they pull him out. But Tristan is phenomenal in Death Tea. He does not get enough credit. He will never get any more credit after this. So, like I said, Tristan fans, you'll never eat better than this right here, because afterwards he's just simping for Serenity, and it's kind of gross. So anyway, with that in mind, let's close it. This was a long time coming. This is nowhere near what we intended for it to be. We had a whole other thing planned that just didn't go through. But yeah, Death Tea, definitely one of the best arcs of the series. I actually do want to do a best arc list for this whole manga. We'll get to that. We'll get to that once we get there. We've got maybe, I would say, three more of these before we get to the Duelist Saga, i.e., Duelist Kingdom. And I'll see if I can get someone who wants to do that with me. But anyway, with that in mind, if you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, if you would like, comment, share, subscribe, smash the thumbs up button. I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.